Hi all, welcome to our Bundesliga Player of the Month guide. Now obviously it isn't up yet or anything, but I thought keep you nice and prepared super early, so if you can smash the links would be awesome. Sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter at @GIsALegend. All links are down below for posting the channel and social media links as always. Now don't be worried when you're seeing the Royce thumbnail on the card showing the award. That is obviously the one that he won for the first run when it was him initially, and obviously when we had Sancho last month. But 5 standout cards at the moment, Thorgan Hazard being one of them. Definitely all have had impressive months. In the form of Hazard, he could be a right wing, I would assume, looking at where he's been playing with his 3 goals and 2 assists. Now I'm going to assume they might touch in the Bundesliga, so you might get a Bundesliga squad, like an 83 rated squad. You've got Mönchengladbach, which is an 82, 83 rated squad, 1 in form, and a couple Mönchengladbach players, 90 chemistry. A Belgium based squad which would be like 82 rated, which would then suggest it's the same rating as what his brother was, so be wary of that. But saying that, they might not go like full Belgium, so they may only go 3 or 4. 90 chemistry. Past clubs, he's played for Chelsea, Lens and Waregem in Belgium. Could be like 79 to 81 rated, 1 from each club and 90 chemistry. And then a November based squad which would be 82 rated, 1 Dusseldorf, 1 Bremen, 1 Hanover. And I would imagine it should be fairly straightforward. Obviously there are no guarantees on those type of routes, but I would imagine at the same time, as long as you're prepared for Mönchengladbach players like Stindl, Raphael, Hazard himself, as in the base card, not the inform, Kramer, Sommer, then you're generally going to be quite sound. Like Mönchengladbach informs, you've got Lang, Hazard to kind of work from. You don't really want to go Sommer, so be wary of that because Sommer's quite expensive, so be wary with him. With Royce, he's obviously featured for a Player of the Month, so you could have his past ties with Mönchengladbach himself, so same rules apply. As long as you're covered for the aforementioned players, that is a good start. Then with November, you could see him going for Wolfsburg, Bayern and Mainz. With Wolfsburg, Brooks could be a common player bought. From a Bayern perspective, you could see Tolisso, Coman, even as high rated as Schula or Robin or Ribery. Then with Mainz, it's a little bit harder, but as long as you're covered with Mainz players, I think it would never hurt. And obviously informs from the Bundesliga is probably the smartest way, as long as we don't see German informs like we saw with Sancho where they were super inflated. As long as you're not investing, as long as we're not seeing that type of requirement again, you should be finding it straightforward. Like 83, 84 rated, it's hard to say with Royce because obviously for what he had last month to what he's going to potentially have this time round, it could be interesting. Like people are assuming Royce is going to win second Player of the Month. There is no guarantee. Like Playa and Hazard have had good months, same for Jovic and Haller. So like FIFA, as we mentioned a couple months back, we said with FIFA 17 was the cover star, that could be like an 88 rated squad because that's what rating he was in FIFA 17, so that could just make the route all the more expensive. With Playa, he's been playing left wing, so a slight position change compared to being at striker, which I think would be more appealing, but a left wing regardless, I'm sure people will not knock it regardless. Same rules we've been kind of applying as an 83 Bundesliga squad, so 11 Bundesliga players. Same for Hazard, Mönchengladbach, kind of similar requirements. Obviously you wouldn't invest in informed play to make it work because that's kind of, it's quite expensive for it, but if you've got one you're kind of sorted. Then obviously he's French, so you would want to go like a 82, 83 rated French squad. Common players that you might see nabbed in this is Mandanda. Mandanda is probably the most common. Gomis, Gignac. Don't be surprised to see inform Gignac kind of being featured quite a lot in this one, so be wary with him. He's played formally for Lyon, Auxerre and Nice, so for Lyon you may see Fekir, Marcelo, Lopez, those type of players. Nice you could see Balotelli commonly featured. Auxerre there's mostly silvers, so that's why it's maybe like say 79 rated. But it depends how they want to set it up. Like they might just go Lyon and Nice and then just take it from there. But November, Dusseldorf, Bremen and Hanover. Dusseldorf, you might see the inform Luki Bakayo. Bremen, you might see Klaassen, Cruz in Hanover. You could see whoever they opt to kind of cover with our Frankfurt pairing of Jovic and Haller. With Haller, he is of same rules as we've said before, Bundesliga 83 rated squad, Frankfurt 81, 82 rated, probably 2 Frankfurt, maybe half 46 Bundesliga players. Same kind of structure for the France squad, 82 rated. His past clubs include Auxerre and Utrecht. 77 rated, just a little bit lower because there's not really much goal. There's no really goals between both teams. You're kind of relying on the league to kind of help you a little bit. So depending how they set up that requirement, you may find other ways that need to boost it up. And then obviously November for Eintracht Frankfurt, they played Stuttgart, Schalke and Augsburg. So Stuttgart, you may commonly see Zieler featured. You may see for Schalke like Stani, Konoplyanka, Mbolo, Rudy. Augsburg, you may see from Bogason. So it will be interesting how they kind of opt to put this one together. Like for me, when I'm looking at all of them, I'm giving them all like 7 out of 10, but like for Haller, Playa, Hazard, I think Androvic, they're all going to be between 80 to 150 to do. Royce is going to be like that 500-600k spend. Like for Jovic, obviously he's got Croatian ties and his past club is Benfica, and like I'm saying it's 79 rated. They could easily bump up to like an 81 just to make it a little bit higher and a little bit more expensive, maybe give you like a better pack just for doing it. But obviously with Croatia, I'm saying 81 rated, like there is no guarantee that it's going to be that high rated. But for Croatian players that you'd commonly see, like Mandzukic feature, Korluka could be very common, so be wary with that. And even if they were to go for informed, as long, but I doubt it, because Croatia would then just see informed Jovic just get price fixed. Jovic would genuinely probably go extinct because everyone would just invest in him like mad. In terms of stats for the month, Hazard is 3 goals, 2 assists, Royce is, and everyone else is 3 goals, 1 assist. So you're kind of 50-50 here on who's going in. That's why I've got all 5 of them at 7 out of 10. I genuinely cannot split them. If I was to say personal thoughts, I would say Hazard will win it just over Royce, despite Royce kind of running the show against Bayern. That's what's going to make the difference. Royce will win it on potentially the fan vote, and because of his performance against Bayern. Mönchengladbach have only had Dusseldorf, Bremen and Hanover, whereas Frankfurt have had Stuttgart, Schalke and Augsburg. But it shall be interesting regardless to see who wins. But hopefully this gives you plenty food for thought, folks. As always, let me know in the comments down below who you would like for Player of the Month for November from the Bundesliga. Smash like as always, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter at GIsaLegend, and I will catch you all later.